All right, guys, so now we're going to do the JavaScript so that we can click on one of these and then it's going to show the correct panel. Now, one thing we do before we get into the JavaScript is there's something that we have to change here. So the way it works is if we look at the tabs, right, let's go to the top here, section tabs. So each tab has a data target, and the first tab is going to be the data target is panel 1. The second one is data target panel 2, and this is on both of these divs, or around the text and around the tab. And then this one is around, where is it? Where's panel 3? Right here, panel 3. Now, if we look at the actual panels, the first one, we have a class of panel. That's going to be on all of these. And then also, this is panel 1. Well, if we look at panel 2, it has a class of panel 1. This should actually be 2. So make sure you change that or this isn't going to work. And then on panel 3, we want to make sure we change once again panel 1 to panel 3. All right, so now we're ready to add our JavaScript. So let's create a folder called JS, and we'll create a file in here called script.js. And let's make sure we add that. I'm just going to put it to the head. So I'm going to put it right here. We'll say script source js/script and defer. Okay, so now let's go into our JavaScript, and the first thing we're going to do is grab all the tabs and all the panels. Remember, we have 3 tabs and we have 3 panels. 2 of them are hidden by default because we have the class of hidden, but we want to get all of those. So let's put those into variables. And the way that we have to do this, and I know that a lot of you guys already know this, you understand JavaScript, but just for the people that don't. So normally if we had one tab on the page and we wanted to get it, we could say document dot, we could do get element by ID if we want to get it by its ID, or we could do query selector like that, and we could get, let's say it had a class of tab, which all of these do. But that's only if you want to select one element. In this case, we have 3 items that have the class of tab. So what I'm going to do, instead of query selector, where I just select it directly, I'm going to use query selector all. What that does is it gets all of the elements with this class and puts them into something called a node list, which is similar to an array. So I'm going to call this variable tabs. Okay, and I'll even console log it out so you can see what it gives us. So let's open up our console, and you'll see a node list with 3 items, and it's these 3 elements. In fact, it'll give you the highlight over them. All right, and if I want to get one of them, I could do just like an array. If I want the first one, I'll use the 0 index, and now it's just showing the first one. All right, we want to do the same with the panels, because each of these panels has a class of panel. So I'll just copy this down, and we want all the classes of panel, and we're going to put those into a panels node list. Okay, so that's the first step, is to get those, put them into variables. Next, we want to have an event listener. So we'll just say tabs menu event listener, and we'll do that by taking all the tabs, because we need to put an event listener on all 3 of these. So we're not going to do it separately. What we'll do is loop through them and then put it on each one. So we can loop through with for each, which takes in a function, and a pass in as a parameter. We can pass in, we can call it whatever we want. I'm going to call it tab, and I'll just do a console log of each tab. And you'll see it's going to print out down here 3 different tabs. Okay, now in here, I just want to add an event listener onto each one. I could put it within these curly braces, but since it's a single line of JavaScript, I'm going to get rid of the curly braces and just do it here. So I'll take the tab and add an event listener onto it. We want to listen for a click, and then we want to call a function called onTabClick. Okay, and that's going to be put on all 3 of these. So now if I create a function down here called onTabClick, and I'll just do a console log of 1, 2, 3. So now if I click on any of these, you can see that it logs 1, 2, 3. All right, now if I want to get the exact item that I click on or the exact element, I could pass in an event handler here, an event parameter, and we could use target. So if I console log e.target, if I click on speedy searching, look at that, it'll give me the actual element. Click on that one, gives me the element. So we will be using that in a little bit, but the first thing I want to do is deactivate any existing or any activated tab. If I click on one of these, the red border should go away on all of them, and it doesn't matter which one I click on. So what I'm going to do is, again, take all the tabs and loop through them, and we'll say for each tab, then we're going to want to take that tab, and we have this children prop that we can use. So tab children, and let's say we want 0, the 0 index, and I should probably spell children. Let's just console log that so you can see what that gives us. Okay, so I'm clicking on it, it's going to loop through each one, and it's just showing me all of them. All right, now I want to remove a class from all of these. I want to remove a couple classes, the border bottom, the border soft red. I just want to make sure we remove that from all of these. So let's take that tabs children 0, and we can do class list dot remove, and we want to remove a couple classes. So we want to put each one in quotes. First one is going to be border dash soft red. Okay, then we want to remove border dash bottom dash 4, and then also the medium screens border dash b dash 0. All right, so just doing this, if we save and we come over here and I click on any of these, you'll see that the border will go away. Okay, it doesn't matter where the border is, and it doesn't matter which one I click on. Even if I click on this one, it's going to go away, and that's what we want for now. So the next step, actually, let's put a comment here. So this we'll just say deactivate all tabs. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do, still within this function, is going to be hide all panels. Okay, so all 3 of the panels, including this one, we want to just completely hide them, meaning we want to add the hidden class, and then we can decide which one we want to show based on which one we click. So to hide these is going to be pretty easy. We have access to all the panels, which is an array or a node list, because we brought it in up above here. So what we'll do is loop through that with a for each method, and let's say for each panel, so for each panel, we're going to take that panel and we're going to, from the class list, call remove, add, because we want to add the hidden class. We want to add in hidden. So now if I come over here and I click one of these, it deactivates the tab, and it also hides all the panels. All right, so the next thing we want to do is activate a new tab and panel, and we'll say based on the target, because remember, we have the tabs have a target, a data target attribute, and then the panels have a class that is equal to the data target that they want to match. So just a reminder, if we look at like tab 3, there's a data target of panel 3. And then if we go down to panel 3, there's a class of panel 3, same thing as that data target. So we're basically going to match those two. So down here, let's use that e.target. Remember, this is whatever we click on. If I click on this particular tab, e.target is going to pertain to that element. So I want to add the border back and activate it. Okay, so we're going to say class list dot add, and we want to add the border, let's say border dash soft red, and then we also want to add the border dash b dash 4. So let's just do that and see what we get. So if I come down here and I click on speedy searching, then the border gets on that, easy sharing. So whichever one I click on, the border is going to get set to. Now the panels are still gone, so now we have to deal with that. So I want to get the class of the, I want to get the data target of the tab we click on. So let's create a variable here. We'll call this, let's call this class string, and we're going to set that to e.target. So that's the tab we click on, and then we want to get the attribute. So there's a method called getAttribute, and the attribute that we want to get is data-target. Okay, so whatever that value is. In fact, let's go ahead and just do a console log of class string, and we'll come back down here. Let's open up our console and let's click on this one here, and you'll see we get panel 2. If I click here, panel 3, panel 1. That's this class string. All right, now we need to remove the whatever panel we're clicking on. We want to then remove the class of hidden, which will then show that panel. So we're going to, from our document, let's say .getElementById, and we want to get the panels. Okay, so panels, that's wrapped around all 3 of them, and then from there we want to get, let's say, getElementsByClassName. All right, and we want by class name, we're going to pass in class string, which is going to be panel 1, 2, or 3. Now this function, this getElementsByClassName, it's similar to query selector all, where it's not going to return a single element, it returns an array or a list. So we just want to make sure that we add to this, we want the first one in it. Okay, so that it gives us the actual string of panel 1, 2, or 3. And then finally, we just want to add on to that class list, and we want to then remove. So class list dot remove the class of hidden. All right, because remember here we put the class of hidden on all of them, so none of them show. But now we're just matching the data target to that specific class, and then we're going to remove it. So let's save, and now if I come down here and we click on the second one, we're going to see the second panel. Okay, so click the third one, we're seeing the third one. And it's doing exactly this, just really fast. First, it's taking the border off whatever one, or it's taking the border off all of them because we loop through all the tabs. We remove these border classes. Then it hides all the panels, makes them all go away by adding the hidden class. Then we get the data target and we match it to the class name of the panel, and we add the, we remove the hidden class so that it shows. All right, if we make it smaller like this, works the same way. All right, so yeah, I think that looks pretty good. Now we have a little functioning tab component.